This country shouldn't exist, but it does. Have you ever looked at a map and thought, wait, that can't be right? Some borders make perfect sense, like natural divisions formed by rivers, towering mountain ranges, or vast oceans separating nations. But others? They seem completely random. Jagged lines that slice through towns, islands that bizarrely belong to far-off countries, or entire regions that exist purely due to bureaucratic mistakes or historical oversight. Today, we're diving into one of the strangest geopolitical oddities on Earth. A place that, by all logic, shouldn't exist. And yet, somehow, it does. Its borders defy reason. Its history is one of paperwork errors and diplomatic miscalculations. And its population? Well, that's where things get even stranger. And if you think that's weird, just wait. There's a place where your kitchen could be in one country while your bedroom is in another. Or a land so unwanted that no nation on Earth wants to claim it. So buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey through the most ridiculous, mind-bending, and fascinating borders in the world. What even is a country? Before we dive into today's bizarre case, let's start with a simple question. What makes a country a country? It seems like a straightforward answer, right? Most people would say a defined territory, a functioning government, a settled population, and crucially, recognition from other nations. But in reality, things aren't that simple. There are places that meet some of these requirements, but not all. And there are others that exist purely because, at some point in history, people just decided they should. So, before we get to the main event, let's take a quick look at a few places that are almost, but not quite, countries. Sealand, a tiny offshore platform in the North Sea that claims to be an independent country. It wasn't always like this. Originally a British military fort built during World War II, Sealand was abandoned once the war was over. Then, in 1967, a man named Paddy Roy Bates took over the platform, declared it the Principality of Sealand, and, believe it or not, named himself Prince Roy. Sealand has its own passport, its own currency, and even a royal family. Over the years, it's been at the center of pirate radio broadcasts, an attempted military coup, and even a bizarre market where people try to buy citizenship online. But despite all of this, no government officially recognizes it as a real country. And yet, Sealand still stands. But if you think that's weird, let's go back much, much further in time, to a nation that actually is real. Even though it's so small, you could walk across it in less than an hour. Welcome to San Marino, one of the world's smallest countries. Nestled completely inside Italy, San Marino is just 24 square miles, yet it has maintained its independence since the year 301 AD. It has survived wars, foreign invasions, and even Napoleon, who, surprisingly, chose not to conquer it. And if that wasn't enough, it also has one of the oldest written constitutions in the world, dating all the way back to 1600. It's one of the few microstates that has managed to remain sovereign for centuries. But while San Marino is small, our next case is even stranger. Because rather than being fiercely independent, this next place is so unwanted that no country wants to claim it. There's an 800 square mile piece of land between Egypt and Sudan that is, quite literally, claimed by no one. No government rules it, no people live there permanently, and legally speaking, it belongs to, well, nobody. How did this happen? In 1899, the British colonial government drew a border between Egypt and Sudan. Then, in 1902, they drew another one, accidentally contradicting the first. Now, here's the problem. Sudan believes Bir Tawil belongs to Egypt. Egypt believes Bir Tawil belongs to Sudan. Neither country wants to claim it because doing so would mean giving up a much more valuable region nearby. As a result, Bir Tawil remains one of the only unclaimed pieces of land on Earth. Of course, that hasn't stopped random people from trying to claim it. In 2014, an American man planted a flag there so he could make his daughter a princess. Others have tried setting up small communities, but under international law, None of these claims actually mean anything. Still, it's one of the only places in the world where you could, theoretically, just walk in and start your own country. But if Bir Tawil is strange, just wait until you hear about a town where even the locals aren't always sure which country they're in. Imagine sitting at a cafe, enjoying your coffee. You step outside, and suddenly, you're in a different country. Welcome to Baarle, a European town where the border between Belgium and the Netherlands is a logistical nightmare. Instead of one clean line, the town is divided into more than 30 tiny enclaves. Some houses are split down the middle, one part in Belgium, the other in the Netherlands. People here sometimes have two addresses for the same home. And in the past, bars would literally move their doors depending on which country had the lower taxes. Because of different curfew laws, bars in one country would close early, so customers would just walk across the street and keep drinking. Baarle is a real-life geographical puzzle, and yet, somehow, it works. But now, let's finish with one last absurd case, a border dispute that turned into a whiskey drinking contest. For decades, Canada and Denmark both claimed ownership of Hans Island, a tiny, barren rock in the Arctic. But instead of fighting an actual war, they turned it into a friendly competition fueled by alcohol. Whenever officials from one country visited, they would plant their flag, leave behind a bottle of Danish schnapps. Then, when the other country arrived, they'd replace it with their own flag, leave behind a bottle of Canadian whiskey. And just like that, what could have been a tense territorial dispute became an ongoing diplomatic drinking game. So, which of these bizarre borders fascinated you the most? The unwanted land of Bir Tawil? The town where homes belong to two countries at once? Or the whiskey war over Hans Island? Let me know in the comments. And if you love weird geography, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the strangest places on Earth. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.